Imagine you are standing in the middle of a bustling city, surrounded by noise, chaos, and endless distractions. The world moves so fast, yet you feel like you're standing still, overwhelmed by it all. Have you ever wondered why life feels this way? Why do we struggle to find peace in our minds despite the constant movement around us? Is there a way to break free from this cycle of stress and confusion? Now, think about your daily life, work, relationships, responsibilities. How often do you find yourself caught in a loop of dissatisfaction or restlessness? What if the answer to finding true peace has already been shared with us, thousands of years ago, by someone who understood the deepest truths of human existence? What if the Buddha's lessons could offer the clarity and inner calm you've been searching for all along? This video will take you on a journey through the powerful lessons taught by the Buddha. Lessons that have the potential to change your perspective, your actions, and ultimately your life. But it's not just about learning philosophy. It's about transforming the way you experience the world every single day. Welcome to Wisdom Writings, the place where we explore deep, life-changing wisdom that can guide you through the toughest moments. If you're ready to open your mind and begin this journey of transformation, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. We're so grateful to have you here, but did you know that while there's so many views on this channel, only 0.2% of people subscribe? If you find this video helpful, please show your support and drop down your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start this journey together. Now, let's dive into the first lesson, the one that could change everything for you. The first flame: suffering is a mirror, not a cage. There's a truth we must all face. Suffering is an inevitable part of life. It's not something we can run from, hide from, or wish away. But here's the thing: suffering is not our enemy. It's a mirror. It reflects back to us the deeper truths about ourselves. The Buddha, with his profound understanding, taught us that suffering doesn't define us. It reveals us. At first, this might sound strange. We live in a world where comfort, pleasure, and happiness are sold to us like promises. We are told that life should be free from pain, that we deserve to be happy all the time. Yet, when we experience pain, whether physical, emotional, or mental, it feels as though something is wrong. We resist it, fight against it, and wish for it to disappear. But suffering isn't something to fight against. It's something to understand. Consider your life. Think about the times you felt pain, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a failure, or even the simple frustrations of daily life. What did that suffering reveal to you? Did it make you stronger, more compassionate, more aware of your limitations? Or did it trap you in a cycle of negative thinking, convincing you that life was unfair and that you were somehow broken? The Buddha's insight is clear. Suffering is not a curse. It's an opportunity. When we look at our suffering with clear eyes, we begin to understand something crucial. It shows us the truth about our attachments, our desires, and our expectations. It helps us see how we cling to things, people, and outcomes, believing that our happiness depends on them. But when these things change, when life throws us a curveball, we suffer because we were holding on too tightly. This is where the Buddha's teachings come in. He didn't say that suffering could be avoided, nor did he suggest that we should ignore it. Instead, he said that we could transform our relationship with suffering. We don't have to be controlled by it. We don't have to let it define us. By understanding suffering, we can break free from its grip and move toward the place of peace. When we realize that suffering is a mirror, we begin to see that it reflects our attachments to things that are impermanent, our desires for things to be a certain way, our fears of change, and our expectations of control. All of these lead to suffering. The Buddha asked us to look deeper, to ask ourselves why we suffer. Is it because we want things to stay the same, even though everything in life is constantly changing? Think about it. We can't stop the seasons from changing. We can't hold on to youth forever. We can't keep our loved ones from aging or passing. And yet, when these inevitable changes occur, we suffer. We resist, we grieve, we fight against the reality of life. But what if we could learn to embrace the changes? What if we could accept them, knowing that they are a natural part of life, and that each moment is fleeting? This is where the Buddha's wisdom shines. He didn't suggest that we should give up on life or stop caring about the world. Rather, he taught us to engage with life fully, but without clinging, to live with awareness and compassion, but without attachment to the outcomes, to experience the joy of life without depending on it for our sense of well-being. The Buddha also understood that suffering arises from our minds. It is not the external world that causes our pain, but the way we interpret and react to it. If we're constantly thinking about the past or worrying about the future, we miss the beauty of the present moment. We create suffering by holding on to old wounds, regrets, or anxieties about things that haven't even happened yet. Imagine that your mind is like a lake. When the water is still, it reflects the world clearly, without distortion. But when the water is disturbed, when we allow our emotions, our fears, and our desires to take over, the reflection becomes blurry and unclear. The Buddha taught us that we must calm the waters of the mind. We must learn to see the world as it truly is, without the distortion of our attachments and our judgments. This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, without judgment or attachment. It is about observing our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to see that suffering is not something we need to avoid. It is something we can learn from. We begin to understand that our thoughts and feelings are impermanent, just like everything else in life. So, what does it mean to look at suffering as a mirror? It means acknowledging that our pain is not something to be ashamed of or run from. It's an opportunity to look within and ask ourselves, what am I attached to? What expectations am I holding on to that are causing me pain? What can I learn from this experience? Suffering can teach us to let go of our need for control. It shows us that the world is not here to serve our desires. When we stop expecting life to always meet our expectations, we begin to find peace. We begin to realize that life is not about getting everything we want, but about embracing what is. It is about learning to be content, regardless of external circumstances. When we stop fighting against suffering, we start to transform it. We begin to see that it is not something that defines us, but something that shapes us. It can help us become more compassionate, more understanding, and more resilient. Instead of seeing suffering as something to fear or avoid, we can see it as an invitation to grow, to learn, and to connect with others. The Buddha's teachings on suffering remind us that we are not alone in our pain. Suffering is universal. Everyone at some point faces hardship. But when we understand it, when we see it for what it truly is, we no longer have to feel trapped by it. We can live with it, learn from it, and even find peace within it. So, as we continue on this journey together, remember this: suffering is not your enemy. It is a mirror that reflects your attachments and desires, but it does not define you. When you begin to understand the nature of suffering, you will find the freedom that comes with letting go. The first flame of the Buddha's wisdom has been lit, and now it is up to you to carry it forward. This lesson is the beginning of something profound. As you move through life, notice the moments when you feel pain, discomfort, or dissatisfaction. Instead of running from them, ask yourself, what is this suffering trying to teach me? What do I learn from this? And most importantly, how can I use this experience to grow, to become more aware, and to live more fully in the present moment? The first flame has been lit, and with it, the path to true peace begins. The second flame, the root of desire, the chain of attachment. The mind is a restless creature. It is always reaching, always yearning. Desire creeps into our thoughts like a shadow, and before we know it, We are chasing after things we believe will make us happy. But happiness, true happiness, is not found in the things we long for. It is found in the quiet, in the stillness, in the absence of desire. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when you get something you've wanted for so long, a new phone, a promotion, or even just the approval of others. In that moment, you feel a rush, a brief spark of joy, but then it fades, doesn't it? The happiness doesn't last. The object of your desire no longer feels as important as it once did. And so, you set your sights on something else, something new to want, something new to pursue. Desire is like a never-ending loop. We desire something, we get it, and then we desire something else. This constant chase keeps us moving, but it doesn't bring us peace. In fact, it takes away our peace. We are caught in the cycle of craving, constantly looking for fulfillment in things that can never truly satisfy us. The Buddha taught that desire is the root of suffering. The more we desire, the more we suffer when we can't attain what we want. And even when we do get what we desire, it doesn't bring lasting happiness. Instead, it brings more desire, desire for more things, more experiences, more validation. It's an endless cycle, and it's this cycle that keeps us trapped. But it doesn't have to be this way. There's a way out of this cycle, a way to break free from the chain of attachment that binds us. The Buddha showed us that the key is to let go of desire, to stop clinging to things that are temporary and fleeting. This doesn't mean we stop living or stop enjoying life's pleasures. It simply means we stop relying on them for our happiness. We begin to understand that true happiness doesn't come from what we have or what we can get. It comes from within. To let go of desire is not to become cold or indifferent. It is not to live a life of detachment or to abandon the world. It is to live with awareness, to be fully present in each moment, without the constant pull of wanting something more. It is to find joy in the simple things, in the things that are already here, in the things that we don't have to chase. When we let go of desire, we begin to find peace. We stop looking for happiness in things outside of ourselves. Instead, we start looking inward, discovering that the happiness we seek has always been inside us. It is not something we need to chase. It is something we need to uncover, to rediscover. Letting go of desire is not easy. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to change. We're so used to wanting, so used to chasing after the next thing. But with each small step, with each moment of awareness, we can begin to loosen the grip of desire on our hearts. We can begin to free ourselves from the chains of attachment. The Buddha's path is not one of renunciation in the traditional sense. It is not about rejecting the world or living in isolation. It is about living in harmony with the world without becoming entangled in it. It is about finding a balance between enjoying life's pleasures and understanding their impermanence. It is about seeing the fleeting nature of everything around us and accepting that nothing will last forever. When we understand the impermanence of things, we begin to stop clinging to them. We stop trying to hold on to things that are constantly changing, constantly slipping away. And in this letting go, we find freedom. We find the peace that comes from knowing that we do not need anything outside of ourselves to feel whole. Desire will always arise. It is part of being human. But we don't have to let it control us. We can observe our desires without being ruled by them. We can acknowledge them, but we don't have to act on them. This is the beginning of freedom. The freedom to live without the constant need for more. Think about it for a moment. How much of your life is driven by desire? How many of your actions, your thoughts, your relationships, are shaped by the pursuit of something you think you need to feel happy or fulfilled? What would happen if you stopped chasing those desires, even just for a moment? What would happen if you allowed yourself to simply be, without the need for anything more? The answer is peace. The answer is freedom. When you let go of desire, you create space for something deeper, something more meaningful. You create space for contentment, for gratitude, for acceptance. You begin to live a life that is not ruled by cravings and fears, but by wisdom and clarity. This is the second flame that the Buddha's teachings ignite within us. The flame of awareness, the flame that helps us see through the illusion of desire and attachment. It is not a flame that burns brightly for a moment and then fades away. It is a steady, quiet light that grows brighter with each passing day, each moment of letting go, each step toward peace. The chain of attachment can be broken, but only if we are willing to see it for what it is. It is not something that is outside of us. It is something that arises within us. We are the ones who create the attachments, who fuel the desires, who chase after the things that we think will bring us happiness. But we are also the ones who can stop, who can pause, who can choose to let go. It is not an easy path, but it is a path that leads to freedom. It is a path that leads to true happiness. Not the fleeting happiness that comes from getting what we want, but the deep, lasting happiness that comes from knowing we have everything we need right here, right now. The fourth flame, walk the middle path, escape the extremes. Life often feels like a balancing act, doesn't it? On one hand, you're being pulled toward excess, overindulgence, the desire for more, always seeking something outside of yourself. On the other, there's the pull toward extreme self-discipline, where you deny yourself anything pleasurable, believing that happiness comes only through asceticism. These two forces, pleasure and pain, indulgence and denial, seem to be the extremes that define so much of our lives. But what if there's a way to live that doesn't require falling into either extreme? What if the path to true peace lies somewhere in between? The Buddha's teaching of the middle path shows us exactly that. He discovered that neither indulgence nor harsh denial leads to true happiness. Instead, it's about finding balance. It's about understanding that life is neither about constantly seeking pleasures nor constantly rejecting them. It's about living with moderation, with awareness, and with a sense of clarity that allows us to appreciate life fully without being consumed by it. Think about it. How often do we get caught up in extremes? We're either overworking ourselves, constantly chasing the next big achievement, or we're avoiding any effort at all, thinking that the more we escape, the happier we'll be. This cycle is endless because neither extreme brings peace. Neither extreme addresses the real cause of our dissatisfaction. The Buddha understood that these extremes, whether of indulgence or self-denial, are both distractions from a truth. They keep us from understanding the nature of our desires and the true causes of our suffering. By focusing on balance, we begin to understand that life isn't about having or not having. It's about how we relate to the things around us. It's not about chasing after pleasure or avoiding pain. It's about knowing that both are temporary. And with that understanding, we no longer have to fall into either extreme. Instead, we walk the middle path, where we embrace life fully without getting lost in it. This doesn't mean you stop enjoying life. You can still experience joy, pleasure, and excitement, but you approach it with awareness. You recognize that nothing in this world lasts forever. The pleasures we chase will fade, and so will the pains we try to escape. In this understanding, you don't need to desperately seek pleasure or avoid discomfort. Instead, you live with an open heart, embracing life as it is moment by moment, knowing that both the highs and the lows are just passing states. The middle path also teaches us about moderation and how we treat others. It's easy to swing between extremes in our relationships too, either giving too much, expecting too much, or shutting ourselves off entirely out of fear of getting hurt. The Buddha's wisdom guides us toward a path of balance here too. You treat others with kindness and respect, without expecting anything in return. You don't give to the point where you lose yourself, but you also don't withdraw in fear or bitterness. You walk the path of loving awareness, offering what you can, but without the expectation of rewards or recognition. One of the hardest parts of the middle path is learning to let go of our attachments to extremes. We live in a world where people often push us to choose sides, to pick an extreme view, or to commit to one way of being. But the middle path asks us to hold both sides of the story without being trapped by either. It's about understanding that things aren't always black and white. Life is full of contradictions, and peace comes not from picking one side, but from accepting both as they are. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you found yourself caught in an extreme? Maybe it was with work, feeling like you needed to be perfect or completely disengaged. Maybe it was with food, relationships, or even your emotions, thinking you either had to have everything or give up on everything. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to step away from both extremes and look for balance. You don't need to follow the crowd or give in to the pressures of the world. You don't need to be a workaholic to prove your worth, nor do you need to run away from responsibilities to feel free. You can walk the middle path, which teaches you that true happiness is found in understanding the ebb and flow of life and finding peace in the spaces in between. This is the wisdom of the middle path. It's not about denying yourself the good things in life, nor is it about chasing them endlessly. It's about understanding that life's pleasures and pains are temporary, and neither can define you. When you learn to embrace life as it is, with all its imperfections, you stop struggling against it. You stop fighting to have more or less, and instead, you find contentment in simply being. That's the true power of walking the middle path. And remember, this is a practice. The middle path doesn't mean you'll suddenly have everything figured out. It's not a one-time decision, but a daily practice of awareness, balance, and moderation. It's about how you respond to life's challenges and how you find peace in the midst of them. Every time you feel yourself pulled toward an extreme, take a breath and remember that you have the choice to step back, to find balance, and to choose the middle path once again. It's a journey of learning, of growth, and of finding that calm place within yourself where you are no longer ruled by desires or fears, but simply present in the moment. The middle path is not just about finding balance in your actions. It's about finding peace within. It teaches you that happiness does not come from extremes, but from living in harmony with yourself and the world around you. This is where true freedom lies, not in having everything, not in rejecting everything, but in knowing when to embrace life and when to step back. And that is where the true journey of peace begins. As you walk the middle path, you begin to understand that it's not the outer world that dictates your happiness. It's how you respond to it. The Buddha's wisdom points to this truth. You can live fully without being overwhelmed because you've learned to dance with life instead of trying to control it. You've learned to be with what is, without attachment or fear. So, as you move forward, remember that the middle path is always available to you. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Every moment is an opportunity to choose balance, to choose peace, and to walk in the wisdom that the Buddha shared with the world so many years ago. Let this be your guiding light as you navigate the complexities of life, always coming back to the center, always finding your way back to balance. In a world full of extremes, the middle path offers a way out. It offers a path of peace, balance, and wisdom, and all you need to do is take the first step. The fifth flame: train the mind, master the world. We spend so much of our lives trying to control the world around us, don't we? We want things to go our way. We fight to make the world fit into our narrow views. And when things don't go as planned, we feel frustrated, helpless, and often angry. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what if the real battle, the one that truly matters, is not with the world outside, but with the world within? The Buddha taught that everything begins with the mind. All our actions, our reactions, our desires, our fears, everything starts with our thoughts. If we can learn to master our minds, we can find peace and wisdom no matter what happens in the outside world. It's like a gardener tending to a wild, untamed garden. The weeds of negative emotions, distractions, and confusion can grow wildly unless we pull them out by their roots and plant seeds of clarity, calmness, and insight. But how we train our minds? The first step is awareness. Most of us live on autopilot, reacting without thinking. We let our emotions take control. When someone cuts us off in traffic, we get angry. When we don't get what we want, we feel disappointed. When we are uncomfortable, we want to escape. But when we train our minds, we begin to observe these reactions instead of being swept away by them. We start to see that our emotions and thoughts are not who we are. They're just temporary visitors passing through. Once we begin to observe our minds, we can then learn to change the way we respond. Instead of automatically reacting with anger or frustration, we can pause and ask ourselves, is this the best response? Is this the way I want to handle this situation? We create space between the event and our reaction, and in that space, we have the power to choose. This is where the real freedom lies. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in each moment, is one of the most powerful tools the Buddha gave us. By training ourselves to be present, we stop wasting time regretting the past or worrying about the future. We become fully alive to each moment. And in this awareness, we find peace. It's like taking a deep breath and realizing, right here, right now, everything is okay. I'm okay. But mindfulness alone is not enough. We also need to train ourselves to think clearly and with intention. Many of our thoughts are scattered, hasty, and reactive. The Buddha taught that we should cultivate wisdom, the ability to see things as they really are without distortion. This means letting go of judgments, assumptions, and expectations. When we see the world clearly, without the filter of our biases and desires, we can act with greater wisdom and compassion. One of the most important aspects of training the mind is learning how to deal with our emotions. Emotions are natural. They're not bad in themselves. But when we allow them to control us, when we let anger, jealousy, or fear rule our actions, they can cause us harm. The Buddha said that the mind is like a wild elephant. If left untamed, it will trample everything in its path. But if we learn to control it, if we learn to direct it, the mind becomes a powerful ally. It's important to remember that training the mind is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them. When we feel anger rising, for example, instead of pushing it away or acting on it, we can ask ourselves, where is this anger coming from? Why do I feel this way? By becoming curious about our emotions, instead of avoiding or denying them, we can learn from them. This is where true emotional intelligence begins. Another vital practice in training the mind is the cultivation of patience. The mind doesn't change overnight. Just like physical training, mental training takes time. We don't expect to become strong by lifting weights once and then giving up. The same is true for the mind. We must practice daily with patience and consistency if we want to see lasting change. The Buddha also taught the importance of equanimity, the ability to remain calm and balanced no matter what happens in life. This doesn't mean being indifferent or detached. It means being able to face both the joys and sorrows of life without being overwhelmed by them. Life is full of ups and downs, but when we train our minds, we learn to ride the waves with steadiness and grace. The storms may come, but they no longer shake us to our core. You may wonder, how can I train my mind when the world around me is so chaotic? How can I stay calm when everyone else is losing their heads? This is where the practice of mindfulness becomes essential. In the midst of chaos, you can create a space of stillness within yourself. Even if the world is spinning, you can be grounded. This doesn't mean ignoring the world. It means responding to it with wisdom and clarity, rather than being swept away by the currents of stress and emotion. Training the mind also involves letting go of attachments. We are often attached to our opinions, our desires, and our expectations. We want things to be a certain way, and when they're not, we feel frustrated. But attachment only brings suffering. When we learn to let go of our need to control everything, we open ourselves to peace. The Buddha taught that true freedom comes from non-attachment, not from not caring, but for not being dependent on things or outcomes for happiness. One of the most powerful tools for training the mind is meditation. Meditation is like the gym for the mind. It strengthens our ability to focus, calm our thoughts, and develop awareness. Through regular practice, we become less reactive and more intentional in our actions. Meditation is not about escaping from the world. It's about becoming more present in it, more connected to ourselves and the world around us. At first, meditation can be difficult. The mind is like a monkey jumping from one thought to the next. But with patience and persistence, the monkey begins to settle. Just like a muscle that becomes stronger with exercise, the mind becomes more focused and more peaceful with regular practice. Over time, you'll notice that you're less affected by the noise and distractions of the world. You'll find that you can respond to situations with greater wisdom and compassion. When we train the mind, we start to see the world differently. We begin to realize that our suffering is not caused by external events, but by the way we interpret them. Our thoughts shape our reality. When we learn to change our thoughts, we can change our experience of life. This is the true power of the mind. It has the ability to create peace, no matter what is happening around us. The Buddha also taught that we must train our minds to be compassionate. Compassion is not just feeling sorry for others. It is the deep understanding of their suffering and the desire to help ease it. When we train our minds to be compassionate, we begin to see others as they truly are, just like us, struggling with their own fears, desires, and suffering. Compassion helps us move beyond judgment and fear. It opens our hearts to others. Ultimately, the practice of training the mind is about finding balance. It's about learning to live with intention, clarity, and peace. The Buddha's teachings offer us the tools to break free from the cycle of suffering and to cultivate a mind that is wise, calm, and compassionate. The world may continue to be chaotic, but when we train our minds, we find that we can move through it with grace and wisdom. The real question is, are you ready to begin this journey of mental training? It's not easy, but it is the path to true freedom. If you start today, even with just a small step, you will begin to notice a shift. The world won't change overnight, but your response to it can. And in that shift, you'll find a peace that cannot be disturbed. This is the true power of training the mind. The sixth flame, compassion without expectation. Imagine walking through life, carrying with you the weight of your own desires, your own fears, and your own troubles. Every day, we navigate through the world, looking for something, a purpose, a feeling of fulfillment, a connection. But there's one thing that most of us forget to carry: compassion. True compassion, not the kind that comes with conditions, but the kind that is born from the purest understanding of what it means to be human. In our world today, kindness often feels like a rare commodity. People are quick to judge, quick to act out of self-interest, and slow to offer help to others without expecting something in return. It's easy to be kind when it feels good to us, when it benefits us, but how often do we give without any expectation? How often do we show compassion even when we know it won't come back to us? That's the type of compassion the Buddha speaks of, the compassion that isn't transactional but is deeply rooted in the essence of our shared humanity. Compassion is not just about helping someone when it's convenient or when it makes us feel better. It's about seeing others for who they truly are, people just like us, struggling in their own way, trying to make sense of the world. It's about understanding that suffering is universal, that everyone you meet is carrying some kind of burden, whether visible or hidden. And when we approach others with this understanding, it opens up a space for true compassion to flow. We stop seeing them as strangers or obstacles and begin to see them as fellow travelers on this path of life. But here's the challenge. True compassion can be hard to practice. The world teaches us to put ourselves first, to protect our own interests, and to demand recognition for our efforts. The idea of giving without expecting anything in return can seem foreign, even risky. What if I give my time, my energy, and my kindness, and it's not appreciated? What if it's taken for granted? These are the fears that often hold us back from acting with true compassion. Yet, the Buddha reminds us that compassion isn't about the outcome. It's about the intention behind the action. When you give with a pure heart, without any expectations, you free yourself from the weight of attachment to results. You no longer need to control how others respond to your kindness, because you're giving simply because it is the right thing to do, not because you want something in return. Think about the last time you gave something, whether it was time, advice, a gesture of kindness to someone. Did you expect them to thank you? Did you expect them to give something back in return? Often, we do these things with some form of expectation, even if we're not fully aware of it. But when we offer compassion without expectation, we begin to experience a deeper sense of peace. It's no longer about what can I get out of this, but rather, how can I help? This shift in mindset brings freedom. Freedom from the fear of being taken advantage of, freedom from resentment, and freedom from the endless cycle of giving and taking. But how do we practice this in our daily lives? It starts with small acts. It's in the smile you give to a stranger, the patience you show when someone is having a difficult moment, the understanding you offer when someone is struggling. It's about listening, truly listening, without judgment or agenda. It's about letting go of the need to fix people, to solve their problems, and instead, simply being there for them. Sometimes the most powerful act of compassion is just showing up. True compassion also involves self-compassion. Often, we're quick to show kindness to others, but fail to show the same kindness to ourselves. We are our own harshest critics, constantly judging ourselves for our mistakes, our shortcomings, and our perceived failures. But how can we extend compassion to others if we don't first offer it to ourselves? The Buddha teaches us that self-compassion is essential for living a peaceful, fulfilling life. When we treat ourselves with the same care and understanding that we give to others, we create the foundation for compassion to grow. We learn to accept our imperfections, to forgive ourselves, and to move forward with love in our hearts. When we practice compassion without expectation, we also begin to understand that suffering is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced. We all suffer in different ways, and by acknowledging this, we become more connected to the world around us. We begin to see that our suffering is not a burden to carry alone, but something we share with others. This realization breaks down the walls of separation that we often build between ourselves and others, allowing us to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level. Compassion without expectation also means letting go of the need to control how others respond to our kindness. Sometimes, the person we help may not be grateful, or they may not even acknowledge our efforts. This can be difficult to accept, especially when we feel that we've given so much. But the Buddha teaches us that our true reward lies in the act of giving itself, not in the recognition or gratitude of others. When we let go of the need for validation, we experience a sense of liberation. We are no longer bound by the expectations we place on others, and we can give freely without fear or resentment. In a world that often seems divided, practicing compassion without expectation can be revolutionary. It has the power to heal wounds, to bridge gaps, and to create connections where there once were none. Imagine a world where everyone gave without expecting anything in return, where every act of kindness was done with a pure heart. How different would our lives be if we approached every interaction with compassion, not for what we could gain, but simply because it's the right thing to do. The Buddha understood that compassion is the antidote to suffering. It is through compassion that we find healing, both for ourselves and for others. It is through compassion that we come to understand that we are all interconnected, that our happiness is tied to the happiness of others, and that the path to true peace lies in giving without expecting. So, the next time you find yourself struggling, remember this. The key to healing and peace lies not in what you can gain, but in what you can give. Give with an open heart, without expectation, and watch as your world begins to transform. You will find that, in giving freely, you will receive far more than you could ever have imagined. Compassion without expectation is not just a lesson from a Buddha. It is a way of life that can change the world. And it starts with you, right here, right now. The seventh flame, death, impermanence, and the power of now. Sit with me. Quiet your mind for a moment. Feel the breath entering and leaving. That breath, so simple, so ordinary, is the sign that you are alive. But it will not always be there. One day, you'll take your last breath. And so will I. This is not a threat, nor a curse. This is the most honest truth. The moment you were born, death also became a part of you. People are afraid of this truth. They run from it, cover it up with distractions, work, money, fame, endless noise. But still, the truth waits. Impermanence is not something that happens to us. It is us. You cannot hold on to a flower and expect it never to wilt. You cannot hold the hand of a loved one and expect time to freeze. Nothing stays. Nothing remains. And yet, this is not sadness. This is beauty. Why? Because it makes now matter more than anything else. The Buddha saw this. Under the Bodhi tree, he understood that suffering comes not just from pain, but from clinging. We cling to moments, to people, to feelings. We say, I wish it had lasted longer. We say, I don't want this to end. But life doesn't follow our wishes. It flows like a river. If we try to stop it, we only drown. Let me tell you something. When you truly understand impermanence, you become free. Not careless, not numb, but deeply awake. Imagine holding a warm cup of tea in your hands, knowing that it will cool, that you will finish it soon. That awareness makes every sip precious. This is how we must live, as if every moment is the last sip. People ask, why should I think about death? Isn't that depressing? But no, forgetting death is what makes life dull. Remembering death makes life rich. When you accept that nothing is forever, you stop wasting time on what doesn't matter. You stop living in tomorrow. You stop arguing over small things. You stop trying to control everything. You start paying attention. The smell of the morning air, the sound of your loved one's voice, the food you eat, the silence between words. Everything becomes alive when you remember that it is passing. Everything becomes enough. And this is the power of now. You see, most people don't live. They only plan to live. They say, I'll be happy when I get this job, when I find love, when I make enough money. But the truth is, none of that is guaranteed. Only this moment is real. This second, this breath, that's all we ever have. Even pain, when experienced fully, changes its shape. We fear it. But when we sit with it, gently, without resistance, we see that it too passes. Just like the seasons, just like the clouds. The storm never stays forever. Nothing does. So why fear? Some people try to escape this truth by pretending to be strong. They say, I don't care if things change. But that is not strength. That is fear wearing a mask. True strength is soft. It allows change. It embraces it. Buddhism teaches us to bow to impermanence, not fight it. Bow to the rising sun and bow again when it sets. Bow when a new love enters your life, and bow again when it leaves. Do not say, it was not meant to be. Say instead, it was, and now it is no more. That is enough. The lotus blooms from the mud, but does not last forever. Its beauty lies in its short life. You too are like the lotus. You will grow, open, shine, and one day fall. Let that truth make you gentle. Let it make you kind. Do not wait for some perfect future. Do not delay the words you want to say. Do not keep your love in a box. Open it now. Show it now. Tell people you care. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Sometimes we look at old photographs and say, those were the good times. But what if these are the good times too, and we're just not noticing? You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too weak. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And this moment, right now, is trying to teach you something. So listen, breathe in and breathe out. Feel how it changes. That breath is the teacher. The Buddha once said, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. That is the flame we hold today. The flame of now. It is small, it is quiet, but it can light up your whole life. Every time you forget, return to the breath. Return to this moment. Bow to it. This is not the path of monks only. This is the path of every person who dares to live fully. You don't need a temple to practice this. Your home, your street, your job, your family. These are your sacred grounds. Watch them change. Watch them bloom and fade. And love them anyway. Because in this constant change is the only place peace can be found. The silent flame. Mindfulness as a daily warrior's discipline. Sit with me for a while. Let the noise fall away. Let the world outside wait. Because today we speak of silence. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of attention. Mindfulness, the silent flame that burns within a disciplined mind. You do not need robes or rituals to find it. You only need presence. Every day, you wake up and walk into a storm. Noise, pressure, messages, tasks, emotions, expectations, all of it calling your name, pulling at your thoughts, tugging your attention. In the middle of all this, there is you, or rather, what's left of you. Because the truth is, most people don't live their day. They are dragged through it. From morning to night, they're reacting, rushing, regretting. Mindfulness is not a trick. It's not a trend. It's a returning to yourself, to this moment, to now, right now. Feel your breath. That is the only moment you ever truly own. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, just now. Most of us miss this. We're too busy chasing what's next or drowning in what is past. But if you could truly live just one moment with full awareness, you would begin to understand. The power is not in changing the world. It's in seeing the world clearly. Without fog, without filters, without fear. You brush your teeth. Do you feel the water? Taste the paste? Hear the sound? Or is your mind already in the meeting that hasn't happened yet? You eat your food. Do you chew it? Smell it? Thank it? Or are you scrolling through your phone, feeding your mouth and starving your mind? The warrior of the mind fights not with weapons, but with awareness. Your battleground is not outside, it is your own attention. Every time you catch yourself drifting away and gently come back to the moment, you are training. That is discipline. That is strength. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's silent. But it changes you. Let me tell you something simple. When you walk, just walk. When you sit, just sit. When you breathe, just breathe. It seems too easy, doesn't it? That's why most people ignore it. But the ones who master it, they walk through life like a mountain walks through the wind, unshaken. Mindfulness does not mean emptying your mind. It means noticing, watching, witnessing, without judgment, without clinging, without running away. Like watching clouds pass across the sky. Your thoughts, your emotions, they come and go. But you are the sky. Still, open, fauched. Pain comes. Let it come. Watch it. Breathe through it. Let it leave. Joy comes. Let it come. Don't grasp it. Don't fear its loss. Let it be. And when it leaves, smile gently. Because you were awake to experience it. That is mindfulness. That is living. Most people are asleep, even with their eyes open. They are lost in their heads, tied to their phones, chained by their schedules. They look alive, but they are sleepwalking. But not you. Not anymore. From today, walk with awareness. Breathe with awareness. Eat, speak, listen, even rest with awareness. And yes, it will be hard at first. You will forget. You'll fall back into old patterns. But don't be harsh with yourself. Just notice. Smile. Return. Again and again. That's how you build a muscle. That's how you sharpen a sword. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly listened to someone? Not just waiting for your turn to speak. Not planning your reply. Just listened. Fully. Quietly. That is mindfulness. It is a rare gift. When you offer someone your true attention, you are offering them your life, one moment at a time. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is not poetry. It's practice. Every moment you return in now, you become lighter, freer, stronger. The present moment is not always peaceful. Sometimes it's painful, but even pain becomes more bearable when you stop running from it. When you sit with it, when you breathe through it, you realize you are bigger than your discomfort, bigger than your thoughts. You are not the pain. You are the one watching it. And that changes everything. You will still have problems. You will still have emotions, but they will not have you. You will walk through chaos with calm. You will face pressure with peace, because the storm no longer controls your mind. In this way, mindfulness is not about escaping the world. It's about engaging with it fully, intentionally, lovingly. You start to see beauty where others rush past. You find gratitude in the simplest acts. Washing your hands, watching the trees, hearing the wind. You start to live, not as a reaction, but as a response. This practice is not for monks alone. It is for mothers, fathers, students, workers, wanderers. Anyone who breathes can return to the breath. Anyone who thinks can watch the thought. Anyone who walks can walk with awareness. And when you do, your life becomes your meditation. Let others live on autopilot. You be the exception. In a world that moves too fast, be the one who moves slowly with purpose. In a world full of noise, be the silence. That is the discipline of the mindful warrior. So now I ask you, will you walk with awareness from this moment on? Will you breathe with presence? Will you train your mind like a warrior sharpens a blade? Not for battle, but for peace? Because if you do, you will not need to search for enlightenment. It will come to you, quietly, silently, like a flame that never burns out. And you will understand, the silent flame was within you all along. The unseen realm, rebirth, consciousness, and the eternal journey. The mind is a vast ocean, and consciousness is the current that flows through it. Have you ever stopped to wonder where this current goes? What happens to the mind when the body fades? In the teachings of the Buddha, the idea of rebirth is not about being born again in the same way, but about a continuous flow, a journey that transcends the physical body. It's not a cycle of repeating the same life, but a transformation, an evolution of consciousness. Life doesn't end when the body dies. It merely changes form. The Buddha taught that we are not our bodies, nor are we our thoughts. These are just temporary conditions that we experience in the present moment. Our true essence is not bound by time, space, or the physical world. It is timeless. It is consciousness itself, flowing endlessly through different forms, experiencing the world through countless lives. This journey of consciousness is a continuous unfolding, one where we learn, grow, and evolve. Rebirth, in this sense, is not a mystical or supernatural event, but an ever-present reality of life itself. Every moment is a rebirth. Every breath we take brings us closer to the next step in our evolution. The Buddha's teachings remind us that we are not trapped in our current state. The actions we take, the intentions we form, they all shape the future. What we do today creates the circumstances of tomorrow. Our consciousness is like clay, constantly being molded, shaped by our choices. It's easy to feel stuck, to believe that who we are now is all there is. But in truth, every thought we have, every step we take, is part of a greater journey, an eternal path of growth. When we think of rebirth, many of us imagine coming back as someone or something else, but that's not quite what the Buddha meant. Rebirth is about the potential for change, for evolution. It's about the mind finding new ways to understand, to experience, to express itself. It's about letting go of the limitations that we carry with us, the fears, the attachments, the pain. When we let go of these, we create space for the mind to expand, for the soul to evolve, and for the consciousness to move freely. Every action we take, every thought we entertain, adds to the tapestry of our existence. It's easy to forget that our actions matter. We live in a world where we're constantly told that what we do doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But Buddha's teachings offer a different perspective. Every moment is an opportunity to change. Every breath is a chance to shift our course. We're not helpless in the face of the future. We are the architects of our own destiny. The way we live today directly impacts who we become in the next moment and beyond. The concept of karma is deeply tied to this. Karma is not a punishment or a reward, but the natural law of cause and effect. It's the idea that our actions ripple through the universe, creating consequences that we cannot always predict. These ripples shape our future, influencing not just this life but the next. When we act with awareness, with compassion, with wisdom, we set the stage for a brighter future. Our consciousness evolves in a way that allows us to break free from old patterns, to let go of the negative karma we may have accumulated in the past, and to create a new path forward. The Buddha taught that suffering is inevitable, but is also the key to our transformation. It is through suffering that we learn the most profound lessons. It is through suffering that we come to understand the impermanence of all things and the true nature of reality. We can no longer deny the truth of our existence when we face pain and loss. It is through embracing this truth that we become free. Free from attachment, free from fear, and free from the endless cycle of birth and death. This freedom is the ultimate rebirth. In this context, rebirth is not something that happens after death. It is something that happens with every moment of awareness, every conscious decision we make. Rebirth is the shift in our understanding, the change in our perspective, the moment when we wake up to who we truly are. This is not a one-time event, but a continuous unfolding, a constant opportunity for growth. The eternal journey is not about waiting for something to happen. It is about realizing that we are already on the path. The journey is already unfolding. We are not waiting for some future event, but living in the moment, embracing each step as it comes. The Buddha's teachings show us that the present moment is all we have. It is in this moment that we have the power to change, to grow, and to transform. Life may seem chaotic, but it is also incredibly beautiful in its imperfection. It is in the challenges, the struggles, and the ups and downs that we find the true beauty of existence. It is through these experiences that we learn to let go, to accept, and to evolve. The eternal journey is not a destination, but a process of becoming, a process of growth and understanding. And with each step, we get closer to the truth of who we are. As we continue on this journey, we must remember that consciousness is always moving forward. There is no end, no final destination. The journey itself is the purpose. The Buddha's teachings are not about reaching some ultimate state of enlightenment or perfection. They are about understanding the present moment, living fully in each moment, and embracing the truth of our existence. This is the true path of rebirth. When we understand this, we realize that we are not separate from the universe, but part of it. Our consciousness is not limited to this body, this life. It is connected to everything, to all beings, to all experiences. We are part of the eternal flow of life, a flow that is always changing, always evolving, always becoming. And in this flow, we find our true purpose. So, let go of the fear of death. Let go of the idea that there is an end. Life is a continuous journey, and we are all part of it. The true nature of rebirth is not about the body, but about the soul's journey through time, through consciousness, through existence. It is the unbroken flow of life itself. This is the ultimate truth. This is the freedom that the Buddha speaks of. Not freedom from life, but freedom within life. The freedom to live fully, to embrace the present moment, and to understand the eternal flow of consciousness. This is the true rebirth, the enlightened end, a new way to live, a new way to begin. Imagine you've walked through the path of wisdom, understanding each lesson the Buddha taught, one by one. You've faced suffering, learned to let go of attachments, found balance in the middle path, and embraced compassion. Now, as the final chapter of this journey unfolds, it's time to ask yourself, how do you live after understanding all this? How does it change the way you see the world, the people around you, and, most importantly, yourself? The truth is, once you walk the path of enlightenment, you don't reach the end in the way you might expect. Enlightenment is not some final destination, but rather a continuous unfolding. It's not about perfection, it's about constant growth. It's about waking up each day with the awareness that you are part of something much bigger than yourself, and that you can choose to live each moment with purpose and clarity. So, where does this leave you now? You've learned the Buddha's lessons, and the path ahead may look different. But that's the beauty of it. You've discovered the power within yourself to create your own reality. No longer do you need to chase happiness, because you understand that happiness comes from within. No longer do you need to be afraid of suffering, because you've learned how to rise above it. You're no longer bound by the illusions that once held you captive. You are free, but freedom doesn't mean isolation or detachment from the world. True freedom is the ability to live fully with compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. It's about connecting deeply with others while maintaining the clarity to stay true to your inner peace. It's about embracing life with all its ups and downs, knowing that each moment is an opportunity for growth. When you stop fighting life, you begin to dance with it. At this stage of your journey, the lessons you've learned are no longer just ideas or concepts. They become part of who you are. The Buddha's teachings have woven themselves into the fabric of your daily life, guiding your thoughts, actions, and responses to the world around you. And in this process, you start to realize something profound. You don't need to search for the truth anymore. You are the truth. You are the change. You are the light. As you move forward, remember this: the end is not truly an end. It's a new beginning. The end of one chapter only means the start of the next. Life is an endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And each time you rise with a deeper understanding, a deeper compassion, and a greater sense of peace. This is the true nature of enlightenment. It is not about escaping the world, but learning how to live in harmony with it. Now, take a deep breath. Feel the air enter in your lungs. Feel the peace in this very moment. This is it. This is life in all its fullness. The struggle, the joy, the pain, the beauty, they're all part of the same thing. And as you walk through life, remember the wisdom of the Buddha. Everything is connected. Every moment matters. Every breath is a chance to start anew. You've come a long way, and yet, this is just the beginning. Keep walking the path, with eyes wide open and heart full of compassion. Don't rush the journey. Don't cling to outcomes. Simply be present in each moment, and trust that the path will unfold as it should. In the end, the Buddha's teachings are not about seeking some distant goal or final destination. They are about finding peace in the here and now, living with intention, and embracing the impermanence of life with grace. When you learn to live in this way, you will understand that you are never truly alone. You are part of the great web of life, connected to all beings, and to the universe itself. And with that connection comes a deep sense of peace, a peace that cannot be shaken by the storms of life, because it is rooted in something deeper than anything this world can offer. The final lesson is simple. Let go of the need for answers. Let go of the need for control. Trust in the process of life and let it guide you. The Buddha didn't offer us a roadmap, but he showed us how to navigate life with a clear mind and an open heart. This is your path now. It is yours to walk with confidence, knowing that every step you take is a step toward deeper wisdom, peace, and freedom. As you leave this video, take with you the knowledge that you're always in the process of becoming. You're always learning, always growing, and always evolving. The journey does not end here. It only continues. And with each day, you have the opportunity to embody the wisdom of the Buddha, to share it with others, and to live a life that reflects the deepest truths of existence. This is the path of enlightenment. To live fully, to love deeply, to be present in each moment, and to walk with compassion in your heart. The Buddha's lessons are not just teachings, they're a way of life. And now, it's your turn to live them. Remember, the path to enlightenment is not a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected moments. But as long as you stay true to the principles of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, you will continue to find your way. Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep living with intention. Thank you for being part of this journey. Keep walking the path of wisdom, and may you always find peace within yourself.